What's up, everybody? This is Tech G back with another video to help you successfully pass the CompTIA A+ 1201 certification exam. So let's get into it. You're sitting there ready to jump into a Zoom call, stream some Netflix, or upload that big presentation, and then bam, the Wi-Fi drops again. Or maybe your connection feels like it's stuck in molasses, or worse, your voice on a VoIP call starts sounding like a robot underwater. Now, isn't that frustrating? Well, you're not alone. Network issues, these are some of the most common tech headaches out there, especially for IT support professionals and everyday users alike. So in this video, we're going to dive into real-world symptoms and common network issues, breaking them down in layman's terms and showing you how to troubleshoot these problems. So whether you're just getting into IT or you want to impress at your next help desk gig, then this video is for you. So let's go. All right, so let's start with intermittent wireless connectivity. So you know the drill. You're connected 1 minute, then suddenly you're not. It reconnects and everything is fine for a while until it drops again. So what's really going on? Well, intermittent wireless connectivity, this often points to a weak Wi-Fi signal, some type of channel interference from nearby networks or devices like microwaves, router firmware issues, outdated network drivers, or device roaming between access points, especially in corporate environments. So how do you troubleshoot this? Well, you want to check your signal strength, so move closer to the router. If the issue clears up, then signal strength is the culprit. You also want to scan for interference, so use a Wi-Fi analyzer app. Try switching your router to a less congested channel, like channels 1, 6, or 11 for the 2.4 gigahertz frequency. Also, update your drivers and firmware. So make sure your device's Wi-Fi drivers and your router's firmware are current, and disable roaming if needed. So if your device jumps between access points too frequently, then tweak its roaming aggressiveness settings. Another issue is slow network speeds. So you finally get online, but everything is moving at a snail's pace. Web pages, they load slowly, and videos buffer like it's 2003. So what's really going on? Well, you got bandwidth hogs where devices are streaming or downloading large files. You got network congestion during peak hours, outdated equipment like a slow router or old cabling. You got malware background processes that are consuming all your bandwidth, or you have poor ISP performance. So how do you troubleshoot this? Well, you want to run a speed test. So check to see if you're getting the speeds that you're paying for. You want to check the task manager. So look for background processes or malware sucking up your connection. You want to reset your router. So sometimes a simple reboot, this can clear up memory and temporary glitches. You want to upgrade your equipment. So if your router is 5+ years old, it might be time for a new one. And you want to use QoS or quality of service. So if this is available on your router, set up the QoS rules to prioritize critical traffic like video calls. Another issue is limited connectivity. So you're technically connected, but you can't reach the internet. That little exclamation point icon mocks you from the system tray. So what's really going on? Well, you got an IP conflict, or you might have some DHCP issues, some gateway problems, a DNS misconfiguration, or a cable might be unplugged or damaged. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to release and renew your IP. So you can go to your command prompt and then type in ipconfig/release or ipconfig/renew. You also want to check for static IPs. So ensure that the device isn't configured with a static IP outside of your router's DHCP range. You want to verify your gateway and DNS. So run ipconfig/all to make sure your settings are correct. You also might want to swap out your cables. So for wired connections, try a different Ethernet cable or port. Then there's the issue of jitter. So inconsistent delays in packet delivery, that is jitter, and this can ruin a VoIP call, online gaming, or video conferencing. So what's really going on here? Well, you're dealing with network congestion, you're dealing with buffer bloat, you're dealing with poor routing by your ISP, or inadequate QoS settings. So how do you troubleshoot this? Well, you want to run a ping test. So use ping-n20 in the IP address you're trying to connect to test the latency and jitter. You want to try a wired connection. So Wi-Fi jitter, this can often be solved by plugging in directly. You want to use QoS to where you prioritize real-time traffic on your router, and you want to limit other usage, so pause downloads or streaming during important calls. Another issue is poor voice over IP quality. So if you're dealing with a robotic voice, choppy sound, echo, or just one-way audio, then VoIP issues, they can be brutal when you're trying to look professional. So what's really going on here? Well, you're dealing with high latency or jitter, you're dealing with packet loss, firewall or network address translation issues, or a misconfigured codecs. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to test your connection. So use VoIP specific testing tools like Ping Plotter or My VoIP Speed. You want to enable SIP ALG or disable it, because some routers, they help VoIP with SIP ALG while others make it worse. So try toggling it. You want to check your ports. Ensure your router or firewall isn't blocking necessary VoIP ports like 5060 for SIP. And you want to update your VoIP client settings. So try switching codecs or updating your software. Then there's the issue of port flapping. So 1 second your Ethernet port is up, the next is down, it's up, it's down, and so on and so forth. It's like it can't make up its mind. So what's really going on here? Well, you're dealing with a faulty switch or port, or you're dealing with a bad Ethernet cable, or you're dealing with some power saving settings or a duplex mismatch. So how do you troubleshoot this? Well, you want to try a new port or switch. So move the cable to a different port. You want to replace the cable. So use a known good cable. You want to disable your power settings. So turn off energy efficient Ethernet features in your network adapter settings. And you want to force duplex settings. So set both ends to switch in a PC to full duplex or auto negotiate just to make sure they match. Then there's the issue of high latency. So high ping makes everything feel delayed. Online gaming can be miserable. Remote desktop lags, voice and video, just forget about it. So what's really going on here? Well, you might be having ISP routing problems, or you could be having wireless interference or heavy traffic on the network or congested servers, especially with remote and cloud services. So how do you troubleshoot this? Well, you want to ping a local router. So if latency is low locally, the issue is likely upstream. You also want to check at different times. So is latency high only during the evening? This could be peak time congestion. You want to switch to Ethernet. So eliminate Wi-Fi as a variable, or you want to contact your ISP because they may need to reroute traffic or investigate upstream issues. Then there's external interference. So is your Wi-Fi dropping when the microwave is turned on, or does the signal crash in certain rooms? You might have interference from outside sources. So what's really going on? Well, you might be dealing with issues from your microwave because it produces a 2.4 gigahertz frequency that can interfere with your Wi-Fi. You could be dealing with issues from baby monitors, cordless phones, neighboring networks, or thick walls or metal objects. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to use the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Why? Because it's less crowded and less prone to interference. You want to relocate your router. So centralize it and keep it away from metal and electronics. You want to switch channels. So use a Wi-Fi scanner and hop on a less congested one. And you might want to consider using Ethernet because sometimes nothing beats a hardwired connection. Then there's the issue of authentication failures. So you know the password, you typed it in 10 times, and there's still no connection. So what's the problem? Well, you might be typing in the wrong Wi-Fi password, or you might be dealing with changed credentials, expired or revoked access, especially in enterprise networks, or incorrect security types when it comes to WPA2 or WPA3. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to double check the password because typos do happen. You want to forget and reconnect. So delete the saved network and connect to a fresh one. You want to check your security settings. So make sure the security type matches the router settings. And you also want to reboot the router and the client because sometimes cached credentials can cause issues. Then there's the issue of intermittent internet connectivity. So your internet works, then it doesn't, then it does again. Well, welcome to the land of flaky connections. So what's really going on here? Well, you're probably dealing with loose or damaged cables, ISP issues, an overheated router, DHCP lease issues, or scheduled downtime from your ISP. So how do you fix this? Well, you want to check your modem and your router logs. So look for patterns of dropouts. You want to test another device. So is the issue on one device or is it the whole network? You want to reset the router and the modem. And this is always a good first step. Or you want to call your ISP. So if all else fails, get them involved because they may be doing maintenance or they need to replace faulty equipment. And here's a quick handy dandy recap of everything that we just talked about when it comes to network issues. So go ahead and screenshot that and get it in your life. All right, so let me go ahead and wrap all this up. So when troubleshooting, do not jump straight to the complex stuff. Think in layers. Think about the physical layer. So are things plugged in? Is there damage? Think about the data link layer. Is the NIC enabled? Is the cable good? What about the network layer? Are the IP, subnet, and gateway settings correct? What about the transport and application layers? Is DNS resolving and are services responding? Why? Because this approach saves time and it makes you look sharp in front of clients or employers. So whether you're going for your CompTIA A+ certification or you're just tired of yelling at your Wi-Fi, mastering network troubleshooting is a game changer. It's not about memorizing fixes. It's about understanding symptoms, asking the right questions, and following a logical path to the root cause. Because the more you troubleshoot, the better your instincts will get. And one day, you'll hear someone say that their Zoom keeps freezing, and you'll casually say, well, it sounds like jitter or packet loss, so let's go ahead and run a quick ping test. Now, with all of that being said, let's do some check on learning. So our first question is, a user complains that their Wi-Fi keeps disconnecting randomly, especially when they're in the kitchen. What is the most likely cause? Is it the router needs a firmware update, DNS server is misconfigured, external interference from kitchen appliances, or the computer is infected with malware? And the correct answer is you're probably dealing with external interference from kitchen appliances. So microwaves and other devices in the kitchen, they often operate on the 2.4 gigahertz frequency, which can interfere with Wi-Fi signals and cause intermittent connectivity. And this is especially common when devices are close to the microwave or other electronics that emit electromagnetic interference. Next question. You receive a help desk ticket where a user says their Ethernet connection drops and reconnects repeatedly. Which of the following is the best first step in troubleshooting? Is it change the wireless channel, replace the Ethernet cable, flush the DNS cache, or upgrade the network driver? The correct answer is you want to replace the Ethernet cable. So port flapping, this is where a network port goes up and down frequently, and this is often caused by faulty or loose Ethernet cables. So swapping it out, this is a simple and effective first troubleshooting step before diving into more complex issues. And our final question is, a user reports that their VoIP calls sound robotic and choppy. Which of the following issues is most likely the cause? Is it incorrect static IP configuration, jitter and high latency, expired DNS record, or port flapping on the switch? And the correct answer is jitter and high latency. So poor VoIP quality is commonly due to jitter, which is inconsistent packet arrival times, and high latency, which disrupt real-time communication. VoIP is highly sensitive to these issues, so addressing network congestion or using quality of service to prioritize traffic, that can help.